Okay, let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have issues this morning.
We all have issues this morning. It's Monday.
It's
Tuesday, but
it's
Monday.
our Monday, but I got rest this weekend, but I'm still having issues.
It's Monday. In March.
And I had people emailing me all weekend who thought my weekend off meant I was back on duty on Monday. Nope. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm already overheated. I have to show off the pretty sweater though. Okay, hang on. Before introductions, you'll find out who I am in a minute.
Maybe. It looks so cute. I love it.
I just whacked the thingies. Okay. This is my Wintersol. I will tell more about this and probably stand up again in a second, but we should. Okay.
She finally has another sweater to wear. I don't, but she does.
I think I put this on right this morning. I'm not sure what the front and the back is of this. I'm assuming where I wove the ends in is the back, because that's what a lot of sweaters will do is have you start in the back. So I left the ends a little bit long so I could know it's the back. Okay, sorry. Squirrel! We got caught up talking about our weekends a little bit and other things, and I have more things to fill her in on, but it was business we were talking. And so we might not, I'm trying to play around with what I'm doing with my hair.
It's all cute and curly.
I'm trying to do top curly. Still haven't introduced myself. I'm sorry. Really.
That's Rebecca. She's the boss and owner of Sundragon Art and Fiber in very chilly downtown Brevard.
Yes, that's another issue. And that's my Minion Liz. Same place, same time, same bat channel.
Welcome to the Sundragon Sideshow, the adventures of Liz and Rebecca.
I didn't get to say any of that. That's okay. We gotta go because it is 10 after 9 right now, and we have an appointment signed up for 10. So we're gonna try to wrap up maybe a few minutes before that.
Took a while for motivation to kick in, so we're a little late.
Most people are early for their appointments, which, sometimes we have to be really rude and say, I'm sorry, you have to wait. And sometimes we try to be ready for them. Yes. And we have to set up for outside shopping, but I'm not complaining. I'm stating facts that annoy me. I'm not complaining. No. So I had a weekend off this weekend off. I still did work yesterday. I'm sorry. I actually posted on Facebook. I said, is it still a day off if you only do half the work that you normally do on a Monday, right? That's still a day off, right?
Sure.
Because I'm supposed to be resting, but there's like so much sitting right here that I feel like I need to do. I couldn't not do anything.
But you mostly rested.
Mostly. Ish.
Answering emails in bed counts.
Yeah. I took a partial nap, and when I woke up from it, I was like, I should sleep longer, because like when I'm in the groove and really resting, I will take a 2-hour nap, like boom, and I took a 1-hour nap yesterday, and that's kind of the only napping I did all weekend. I might have taken a nap on a small sliver of a nap on Sunday, maybe. But so I was like, I can't sleep anymore. So I answered emails because I got a lot of emails yesterday. I could have said no and done all of it today, but then today would be extra stressful. See, that's my reason.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it is the catch-22.
Anyway, my plan. So last week, staycation weekend off I took, I made a pair of socks. And this time I was like, I'm going to set some goals and work on some sweaters. And this one, oh my gosh, I was so excited to finish this one. If you are a regular watcher, you saw this with half a sleeve here and no sleeve over here. Yeah. Actually didn't take that long. Well, I mean, it took a while.
And it's been on needles for over a year.
At least a year. I'm pretty sure I started this back at the old shop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we've been, we moved a year ago, September. So, yeah, it's possibly been on needles for like a year and a half. And some of my disclaimers on this, so it hasn't been blocked. I did weave all the ends in. some of the disclaimers on this is I think I might have been a little bigger. Like, I don't really keep track of my weight and my size as well as maybe I should. But I think my measurements may have been bigger when I selected which size to make of this a year and a half ago. My weight has fluctuated a lot, especially in the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
It's gone up and down for like not eating and not exercising. Those are not things that go together in terms of like consistent weight. That means I've gone like
we don't necessarily stress eat.
No.
But there have been moments of boredom where it's like, ooh.
Or migraines. Sometimes I have to eat my way through a migraine.
Yeah.
And not exercising regularly means like
bad,
not fit, you know. Yeah. Like I used to be the same weight for a while, but I was all muscle, and so I looked a lot thinner than in other points in my life, but I still weighed the same. And I mean, batteries haven't worked in my scale for forever. I find out when I go to the doctor how much I weigh, and I haven't been to the doctor in quite some time.
Neither have I.
I went last winter when I thought I caught a respiratory infection from Brian, and I can't remember what I weighed then. I want to say it wasn't great, but you know. So I think when I measured myself for this, I was a little bigger than I am now. I'm still not where I want to be, but I'm not stressing about that because life is too crazy to worry about that. So I picked, I think right now, the biggest part of me measures maybe 42 inches, 41, 42. Mm-hmm. And when I selected a size for this, because I had to like do some investigative work to figure out what size I had chosen for this when I went back to it to figure out which instructions to follow. I think this is the size that's a 46-inch finished size, which actually is not too far off from where I want to be. Because I think we're supposed to have 2 to 4 inches of positive ease on this, right? So, but following the instructions for the sleeves, when I went to go do the ends of the sleeves, I was like, ooh, these sleeves are going to be a little long. And the whole thing is a little big, but roomy.
But nice
but
roomy.
I'm actually pretty comfortable.
It's not like
because I'm
super
still
baggy.
This is the biggest part of me. But the rest of me is not slim and fit either. So, you know, yes, like you were saying, it's like this could be slimmer on me, but cozy is good right now. And, you know, when I'm sitting down, like when I was showing it off, I took a picture for my personal Instagram page over the weekend, and like my sleeves were down to here. Sitting down. It's meant to have a wide neck. I should say, I don't think I've mentioned, this is the Wintersol by Jennifer Steingass. She writes so many wonderful patterns with like a color work yoke. The fancy name for this part is a yoke. And if you like this, like you should check out her designs because she has a crap ton of really pretty color work yoke patterns. And not all of them have this wide of a neck. Like this is the one thing that, you know, you can see. I'm used to wearing t-shirts, so this is like, what? It would probably look absolutely gorgeous without the t-shirt under it, but this is what I'm wearing today. I've had at least one knitter, shout out to Kim, who suggested I get turtlenecks to wear under it. That could be very cute. I haven't had time or energy or money to do that. So this is what I'm doing to show it off today. You can choose to do the color work at the end of the cuffs or not. But this one was pretty cool in that most, this fits the vein of top-down sweaters, right? Mm-hmm. But this one wasn't made that way. It was quite interesting. This one you cast on down here. You actually can almost tell if you look at it, you cast on like right under the color work with provisional cast on. Which actually, instead of like what Liz dreads so much, her instructions are called cow yak. Cast on, waste yarn, and knit. It was do a regular cast on, knit like 3 rows with waste yarn, and then just start knitting with your actual sweater yarn. And you start here and you go up. And what is interesting about that is you decrease. Instead of adding stitches in, you're decreasing to get smaller towards the top. All over decreases on this type of sweater. And sometimes those can lay a little nicer. Those won't show as much. But then once you got up here and did like a little I-cord bind off, which technically if I was worried about it and I put it on needles and tested it, maybe I could have made this a little tighter because you're going up here and binding off. But then you just pull out the 3 rows that you knit down here to have live stitches down here, and you put that back on a needle and you start going down. You take off the sleeves and everything just like with a top-down sweater. So it's interesting, it's different. Not all of our sweaters are written that way. I'm helping knitters with sweaters that are a true top-down. Start all the way up here. So anyway, this is a 3-color color work sweater. You know, I've got my main color, my blue, my pink, and my raspberry, you know, dark raspberry. And like there's one row where all 3 colors are used, but for the most part, like right where the pink first gets introduced, you're using all 3 colors. But for the most part, you're only using 2 colors at a time. These are my leftovers.
Minion bags.
Possibly. I was all upset because I at home I was like, I'm gonna finish this sweater, but I only had these colors. And I went, oh no, I'm gonna, you know, look how little of the pink is used, and you don't have to do the color work down at the bottom. But I was like, no, I've already done it. I've already done it down here, so I want to do it here. So I was like, I'm gonna have to go into the shop to get a skein of pink for like that much, and then I found this in the back room.
Oddly enough, it's about the same size that she found because
there's so little that's used in this, right? This guy, like, at some point I brought the whole sweater home to finish at home, and so I had these remnants, right? I think I have another skein of this wound up here at the shop thinking I would need it for the sweater back in the pit of despair. But luckily I didn't need it. I started a new skein. There are all these crazy, so many stories about this, but this, I was like, wow, that's almost a whole skein. And then I discovered why when I was sewing ends in, because I ran out about a row and a half before the end of the bottom. Like when I went to sew ends in down here, I had like the end, and then I had 2 strands right here, which meant I had to start a new skein of yarn for like 2 or 3 rows at the bottom. Not even, like a row and a half and the bind off. But you know, it is horrible, but I'm glad I didn't short shrift the length of this. If anything, I could have made it a little bit longer. So when I tried the first one on and went, this might be a little long, it's like I could back it out and make it shorter. And I was like, no, I've come too far. Nope.
Always longer.
So I used not quite as, I think, yeah. I'm trying to think about how many ends I wove in, because I wove the ends in on this, but I have not blocked it yet. So it may change a little with blocking. It may even out a little bit with blocking. We shall see. I had other stuff on my blocking boards, so my blocking pads, so I couldn't block this yet. But it's still cozy today because it's cold out. So I used just under a skein of my pink, which is my contrast color too. I used just over a skein of my contrast color number 1. And hard to say how many skeins of this. I want to say I probably used at least 4 skeins of this. I only half paid attention to how many ends I wove in because you're starting and stopping on the sleeves and stuff too, so it's hard to quantify how much of this. But here's the cool thing, is all of this is still our yarn of the week until Wednesday. Yay. So these 2 are, and my stepson, I was showing him, I was finishing this up and he was feeling it and he's like, oh yeah, this is softer than this. He could feel that as we went, but only by a little bit. They're both pretty soft. These 2 are Sugar Bush Rapture, and we have like 12 colors of that. And I still may not have fixed, I didn't take a photo of the charcoal last week, and I took a photo, but I don't think I've put it up yet because I tried to rest this weekend. This one is Barocco Ultra Alpaca, they can be used interchangeably. This one is softer than this one.
I think it's the merino in it that's makes
it
like.
Remember we're talking about the ultra alpaca, which by the way you're wearing ultra alpaca. We'll talk about that in a second. We've got alpaca and llama, right? Alpaca is softer than llama. But then we've got, on the other side, we've got wool and merino. And so alpaca and wool combined for softness. And then you have llama, which is not as soft, but merino that's softer. So the combo, the merino, I think you're absolutely right.
You get one up and one eh. And it's not that it's scratchy, because lots of people are like, llama is super soft.
I'm so soft in this right now.
It just, there's a,
but but the other thing I was showing, and I think it's more prominent with the llama than the alpaca, but you have it in both. I was showing my stepson the guard hairs. I was like, see this fuzzy thing? This is a guard hair. You totally can't see it on camera.
No, I have them in
but you pull them out and it's like boing.
I have them in my Baroque Ultra Alpaca.
Mm-hmm. They both have the guard hairs in them, so they weren't super combed out. But they're still soft. Anyway, so yay. I just like this color combo the best, because these two I picked and I needed a third that was going to be dark, and I had to find that in the Ultra Alpaca. But you can use them interchangeably. So, sticking with our vein of product of the week, Liz, what are you wearing? She's finishing.
I am wearing my
Isabel
Kraemer's
Il Grande Favorito.
That one.
She's made some modifications to it.
I did make it on a bigger needle.
I'm trying not to talk over you.
Made it on a bigger needle. I changed the ribbing to moss, just because I like the moss a little bit better. I need to make more. I realized this morning, I was like, I could grab a shawl or a sweater or red sweater.
You need to make more sweaters.
Like, I have sweaters on needles. Mm-hmm. I do.
Me too.
I know.
Is that so?
What? That's a shocked face, by the way. For people that are less expressive facially or with masks now, it's hard to see your expression. So I've always done a shocked face.
Yeah.
And so anyway, yeah.
Stagger back.
Yeah.
So yours is ultra alpaca.
Mine's
and a
ultra
really
alpaca.
Luscious red. And like most of the ultra alpacas are heathery, but then that one's a less heathery, but it's not. Yeah. And I found that when I was doing the descriptions, I was pulling from Baroque's website to say, Baroque says this. And yes, some are not heathery and some aren't. But there's still some like fun definition to it, I think.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's just all warm and squishy.
One of the first like real sweaters I made for someone in my family was Baroque Ultra Alpaca. I made when I moved to Georgia, and Silver Threads and Golden Needles, which is in North Carolina, which we've been to. I got some Ultra Alpaca from them to make a sweater for my dad, and I think he still has it. So
it's wonderful.
Holds up really well.
I really like,
because that was probably like 7 or so years ago. Yeah. So, yay!
Yeah,
my ends are woven in.
I want to say I did this on a 10.5 too. So
mine was on an 8.
It's not tight. It's just
Well, and here's the funny thing is like I did a swatch in an 8 and I got gauge, and the pattern says to use like 6 or a 5 or something, and I was like, that's not going to get me gauge. But I will say that the other sweater I'm currently working on, the sorrel sweater, it said to do stuff on a 5, and I'm like, there's no way I'm getting gauge on a 5, but I got gauge on a 5.
Bless you.
This is now my new COVID sweater. Got I sneezed into it. No. And okay, well, I'll get to that in a second. The sorrel, which I'm actually doing on. Hang on. I have to shut my phone up, and then I get to do this. And we're just gonna let you see all of that. If someone tries to call my cell phone, and if it's from the same area code as my cell phone, I know they don't know that I don't live in the place where the area of my cell phone is. The area code. Yeah, that makes sense, right?
I guess.
Anyway. So, the reason I couldn't block this yet is I was blocking this. I was blocking my Age of Brass and Steam, which again is going to look black from this far away.
It
And
is
someone has to
the
go back.
most luscious,
It's so soft. Alpaca.
dark and broody shawl ever.
So someone has to go back and look at the old video where I held this up pre-blocking, which was like a week ago or more. I don't even remember. To see how this compares. But let's get it closer. Can you see that? Yes, you can see it's red. We have this is Cascade Luminosa, and we have such lovely colors of this. This was 2 skeins, got me this much. And on the blocking pads, it was just over 5 feet. So again, if I hold it all the way to the tips of my fingers, it got a better shape by blocking.
Yeah,
I will say.
It flattens everything out too a bit. Not that flattening in this case makes it sing a bit more, because like it kind of puckers at the eyelets before blocking, and now it kind of just lays flat, and it makes the eyelets stand out.
Yes. Cascade Luminosa has so many lovely colors that shine through the black. And again, if we'd had it in stock, I would have done it with, we have a brassy bronzy color, but the red color is really fun too. So it's my favorite. So soft. I mean, I'll probably be wearing this around my neck later this week, but right now I'm actually almost overheated with this. So, you know.
Speaking of wearing it around your neck, I found a shawl pattern I have to show you. It'll be in a later episode because I'm probably gonna make it. Yeah.
Okay. We've got a secret. We'll tell you later. I will say it's kind of funny because there's other colors on this right now, and they're mostly cat hairs. What? My cat likes to sit on my blocking. Like when the yarn is damp, he just loves it. Towels are damp, he loves it. And like I heard Brian and Alexander laughing about something, and they said, oh, the cat was in the middle of your blocking, and he jumped straight up in the air because something startled him. I'm like, really? Did you have to do that? Because that probably means that one of the stitches is like soup now. But I don't see that, luckily.
Yay.
There are some spots where I had to tuck things that he had pulled because he likes to sit and knead my knitting.
Your kneading.
Needs my knitting. And I go, no. And he goes, ah! And runs away. And then, yeah, I have to fix stitches. But so I was really excited to finish that. Look at what Liz finished this weekend. Her socks. They're so cute.
So even my mom asked, can't you make the cuffs longer? Nope. I have the cuffs are
do
good.
You need
2.5, 3 inches, closer to 2.5. I have weird feet, and like I've made these, like they stretch. There is stretch to them, but my feet don't bend at the right bendy to get them on. If I made them longer, I wouldn't have been able to wear them.
That is the nice thing about knitting. If you really wanted to make your sleeve shorter, you could. I could have. If you can adapt that to fit your foot.
The other nice thing is I have leg warmers that
so you can
I can put the cuff of the leg warmer over the cuff of the sock, and all gaps are closed all the way up to my knees. There's no way I'm going to make a knee-high sock ever. So having leg warmers and nice socks will win.
You have picked a different combo of the same 3 brands or like lines of yarn, but different color combos for each one of those.
Yes.
And she has more on the way. Yes. And we were commenting with a knitter who stopped by outside last week that
the colors are really hard to tell.
These like if she holds those up, they look similar, but they're not.
This one has got bright neon.
That's more neon-y green.
Yeah.
Like Slimer green. And that one's a little more rusticy fall looking.
Yeah.
You really see them in person.
It's the Perth Alice Springs, which I like crochet. Not a fan of knit.
But when you mix it with so much other stuff.
I've mixed it with a black stripy Fair Isle yarn. And then I also mixed it with Wasco sock that's yellow, and it's the
isn't that the sock head neon-y one on the other sock is because there's Wasco sock in
there? There's Wasco sock in there.
I mean, they both have Wasco.
They both have Wasco sock. But when you put the little bits of the yellow and the from the sock head hat, the Wasco. So it's yellow and this hot pink. When you stick that in, and just a bit of dark in with the Alice Springs, you can still see the Alice Springs, the red and the blue, but it kind of works.
It adds some zest.
It's not the ugly sock I was going for. I'm knitting it going, I really like that, but I wanted
the
ugly
harder
socks.
You try to get ugly socks, the more you're going to actually get really pretty socks. And you're just going to have to live with it.
There was one color I bought this week, and I was thinking about putting that with Alice Springs, and I got no. And I was like,
you can. The next, speaking of socks or sock yarn, the next day I thought coming into work today, it's cold out. Yeah. And I kind of have some mittens here in the shop, but I'm thinking about making gloves. And for me, the one time I've made gloves out of thick yarn, I call them my monster mitts because they look ridiculous. So I tend to make gloves out of sock yarn, and I'll probably make it out of self-patterning yarn. So the question is, which self-patterning yarn here at the shop should I make my gloves out? I'm thinking one of the ones that we haven't talked about yet.
I have a couple sets of fingerless mitts on.
I don't know if I'm going to make them fingerless. I think I'm actually going to go whole hog fingers.
I have issues with fingers.
We'll see.
Unless I'm shoveling or throwing snowballs or something.
I mean, it's a little slippy on the steering wheel, so we'll see. Maybe I'll change my mind. You
tend to be colder by nature.
I could make, but if I make fingerless, so mittens tend to be ones that don't have fingers, like big, just one area for these four. Gloves tend to be the one that have fingers for. That's my distinction when I look at a pattern. And if they don't hold that terminology, then I go Meh, at them. But fingerless gloves, maybe I could do.
Yeah.
Then I'll be like Tiny Tim, gloves, whatever. So, but fingerless mittens are a lot easier because you're not making individual fingers. There's a lot of ends to weave in because you get holes between every time you join the yarn.
The only I've done fingerless mittens just because it's
there's so much easier.
There's not four individual holes. It's one hole and then a thumb hole.
But if I'm going to make it out of fingering weight, I'm going to put the fingers in.
Yeah, that's just good. All that.
I'm going to go through all that trouble. But okay, so I have a plan. We'll see when I get around to it. I have a plan. But
I finished.
Stick with you for a second because what's all this lovely stuff in front of you? Because then I can run my mouth off about my socks.
More in between.
Doing all this love.
I applied this weekend. Actually, I finished spinning and I played.
Disclaimer, what she is about to show you, you cannot get at the shop. We will occasionally talk about things you cannot get at the shop. But it's pretty stuff she did, so we're going to talk about it.
So I found an Etsy shop that had a roving that I was like, I must have it. And I must spin with it.
Another disclaimer. We don't have a whole lot of roving here. Partially because it's hard to stock it, and secondly because Liz bought it all. And we haven't had resources to bring any more back in because we don't have spinning supplies either, really. So we are not focusing on that during pandemic times. But
this is what I did this week.
Etsy. So. Go to Etsy.
Etsy's got lots of shops, lots of gorgeous places that you can.
What business. Etsy shop? What's the name of the Etsy shop? It was
Chameleon Fiber Company.
Chameleon Fiber Company.
Out of Austin.
Hang on to that.
Catherine is fantastic to work with. She had Heartthrob was one of her colorways, and I must own it. So I did, and then I started spinning it, and it has purples and pinks and creams and greens, and it's supposed to be like a Valentine's Day adjacent kind of colorway. Yeah,
it's just pretty.
And the more I kept playing with it, the more I kept going, I think it's my Christmas colorway.
Because it does have like vintagey.
It's vintage Christmas.
It's got vintagey greens and vintagey kind of rosy pinks.
Yeah. And it just, so I did 912 yards in.
I'm going to go see if someone is leaving a message. Oh, nope, they hung up.
Different.
We're not open yet, so they can listen to our message or they can call back.
Call back.
Continue. I'm sorry.
It's not consistent one weight.
No.
But there's 912
and the color
yards.
kind of wibbles around.
The color
it's so
does.
pretty. Oh my gosh. If you're hand spinning, it's not going to be like a machine made it. And that's the beauty of it.
And that's what I was going for.
Yes.
I'll have thick, thin patches.
Mm-hmm.
And I've decided, I keep looking for a pattern to play with it.
No.
It's going to be a papillon.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to pick a color, and I'm thinking of a color, and I'm going to talk to Rebecca later on about that. And
she's the color guru, but
I need a color to the main color, or the contrast.
Pick a color.
Anyway, I need a contrast, so I'm going to come to my local yarn shop and pick a color to go with that. And
okay.
I had also had to empty some bobbins to finish spinning this.
Life is hard.
So I started flying my thistle yarn that I blended, and it's kind of a fractal, kind of where
it's just pretty.
It's almost like feeder brick farm. It's a very sad attempt at feeder brick
If you
farm.
don't want to try to do your own feeder brick farm, we have feeder brick farm here to sell you.
So I started flying that. I still have lots more to do on that, but I was like, I've got to empty a spindle and then do this, and now I have to spin more of this, and I don't know, the yarn never ceases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what else I got myself up to this weekend.
You were busy.
When I force myself not to work on computer strap stuff quite so much, I do a lot of knitting. Y'all get to watch me reject another call. What is up with people today? So sorry, if we suddenly get like, what? It's because we can't see ourselves. We can't see ourselves, we have issues.
We do.
If we film this without being able to see ourselves, oh my gosh, comedy of errors. So the first goal, this was my second goal. My first goal was, I was so close, kind of, I don't even know how close, but I was like, I just want to keep going on this. This is my honey moss. It's a new Andrea Mowry pattern.
It looks so snuggly.
This is, of course, it's curling at the bottom until I block it. It's a honeycomb cable pattern. The honey moss shawl, it's going to take like 5 skeins of yarn, I think. It's going to be crazy because this is how far one skein got me.
And they're just going to get shorter and shorter and shorter.
Shorter?
Well, like the more stitches across,
I was like,
the
my
less
rows
you're
are going to get bigger. But
yeah.
How far my second skein will get me will not look this big, actually. And this, to me, doesn't look super big.
No.
I'm going to have to go on to, I'm on 24-inch needles right now. I probably should transfer onto 36s really soon to make space. But yeah, this is all I have left of my first skein. I did not come in
to go across the road.
I know. It might be enough. I don't know. I didn't want to take the chance. Every fourth row is cables all the way across, and it makes this lovely honeycomb pattern. Her shawl, like you have to do this until you're at like 170 or so stitches, and I'm at 90 something. So I'm over halfway. But it's going to start eating up more yarn. And then the second section of this is going to be like fan looking lace work. So pretty. This also happens to be the product of the week. This is Barocco Ultra Alpaca. It's so squishy and yummy, and it's going to block really nice. It won't be quite as squishy when it blocks.
I didn't plan the sweater with the whole thought that I was just like, it's cold. And everything.
It all just works out.
Look
at all the colors you could get, save 15% on, but you have to buy them either online with the code product of the week, or come to the shop and say, hey, I want the product of the week discount. And some point on Wednesday, things will flip. So that was not a sweater, but oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun with it because I'm cabling. And all these people online were like, what's the brand of your cable needle? Because they're watching me knit with this. And this is a yoga cable needle that you can put in any shape you want. And I've just made this really cool shape. That is not a regular shape on the market, but I will slip onto my cable needle here and take it to the kink, which is like a J hook, which is what I like. But then I know which way to slide it. I get to slide it straight. I don't go towards the kink to get it off, to make sure that I'm sliding on and off the right way. This is my preferred shape. Yes. So that was when I ran out of yarn on this, I switched to this. And when I finished this, I switched to two other sweaters. I worked on a lot of things this weekend. Just so it doesn't die in the bag, both over the weekend and this morning for my morning meditation. And hang on, because this is getting all wiggly wobbly. Why did that go in there?
Timey-wimey. What?
Yeah, right. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. I freed up enough stitch holders that I now have actual stitch holders for my sleeves here instead of random needles.
So what did you do this weekend? I freed up stitch holders.
I freed up stitch holders. This is my calliope. Again, I look like I like a lot of black, and I really don't, but this is just what I'm showing off. So this is my calliope that I am, because it's black to show you. This is how far I am down on the sides of it. It's about 6.5 inches down. Like, I'm in the boring part. There's no increases. There's just knit in a circle. I have to get to at least 9 inches before I start. There's a really thick band of ribbing, just like there's thick ribbing at the top. I will show this up close in a second since you can't see anything I'm talking about. But I have to force myself to work on this, as luscious as it is, because it is a strand of fingering weight and a strand of mohair held together. So it's luscious. I can lose the will to live on it. So I did this for a little bit.
I have to wait until the depths of winter to do mohair, because it's the devil.
My ribbing. And I was talking with someone who also bought the yarn, this very yarn for this, and she was like, it looks in the pattern like it's like it's an open neck, but I'm feeling like mine's coming out a crew neck. And I'm kind of feeling, but look, if I stretch it, I'm feeling like mine could be a crew neck too. But here's the thing, I don't really like this big open neck. So I'm okay that it's coming out that way. But you just saw the ribbing and hopefully the sparkle, because both of the yarns I'm using, I can't separate them. They're sticky. Both of the yarns I'm using have sparkle in them. I keep saying this is the most elegant sweater I've ever made. And if I ever want to finish it, I have to keep designating time on it. So I'm getting closer.
I keep joking, it's your Christmas sweater that we'll have to wear on our last.
Have you seen the new, there's a new Portal ad where it's like, what's her face? It's not Rebel Wilson, maybe, is in it. And she's having she's getting ready for a virtual Christmas party. And she's having like a virtual little get together with 3 of her friends. The whole thing with Portal is like, it moves to follow you. So she's like, I need an outfit for my virtual Christmas party. And she turns out the lights because she puts on a jacket that like lights up like Christmas lights and stuff. And then she's like sliding around the screen. We will have to have a virtual Christmas party for the shop. And I will try to be wearing this.
Ooh, this year we can do a virtual New Year's Eve party.
Oh, we did a real one of those. I wasn't here, but we did a real one of those last year, and we're still finding confetti.
So, it was falling out of. I'm not even sure where it's falling out of still, because it just is.
It just is. We don't know. We think it might be the steel girders up above us, the steel beams. But this is my pièce de résistance right now that I'm on 5s with. This is the sorrel that so the sorrel is also written for a strand of fingering and a strand of mohair like this, but I'm already doing that on this. And this yarn, this is my Christmas. This is my birthday present for myself. Yes, all the time. I have been eyeing the Fiber Space DK, the Vivacious DK in this Everglade color. It is so luscious. I'm alternating 2 skeins so that, because it's tonal hand dye, so I don't have crazy weird pooling or like it looking like it chunks from skein to skein and looks different. But the sorrel, I'm going to try to stretch out a section of this. So this is top down. This is the up here part. And it has these dip stitches that I thought were drop stitches. There's a difference. But see, because it's starting to increase for the yoke, again, this part here, I want to show you how it spreads out. Isn't that pretty?
It is so
pretty.
So cool in real life.
It's really hard to capture the color on screen, but I did make some progress. My last morning meditation last week was on this, and I have made progress on it. The dip stitches, I'm on my Chow Gu pointies to catch the dip stitches, because you're going like over 2 stitches and down 5 and sticking your needle in there. Because someone's like, dip stitch on Facebook, and I'm like, I'm not going to explain in too much detail because there's really great videos that the pattern writer has put that are passworded to the pattern. So if someone wants to attempt this, get the pattern, we can help you get the pattern, and I will help you out. I can help you with lessons on how to do it. But it's so pretty, and this is so squishy, and I'm so excited. This merino is very different than this merino. But I've made progress. And since this is off the needles, it's like, let's start another sweater, yay! Might as well. She's got consistent number of papillons on needles. I will have a consistent number of sweaters on needles. Ha! So.
We're rubbing off on each other, though. It's like, ooh, new projects.
Right.
Plural. Take one off, add 2 more.
And we just got the 10-minute warning for our appointment. So I'm gonna, okay. The other thing I worked on this weekend, we're gonna attempt to wrap up soon. Laughable, but I brought in the papillon that I haven't touched. We will save that for another day. We don't really have time. But since we showcased all of her papillons, we talked about doing mine too at some point. Mm-hmm. Not today, because I did too much this weekend. But if we don't have a crap ton to talk about, and that is a technical term, on Thursday, we could talk papillons on Thursday. So I want to get back to papillons and do so many beautiful papillons, but I have a lot of
the
other
possibilities
things.
Are endless.
I know, and I have to advertise more than just papillons at the shop, as much as I'd like to do papillons, you know. So I attempted to get some more work done, and the yarn coming out of the center of this ball now. This is the Queensland United Foursome. Like I can slide this all the way up my hand now.
It's a bracelet.
It's a big honking bracelet. It has a potential if to get tangled. But it untangles.
That a thing when we were growing up, the big pumpkin bracelets.
Yeah, probably. But I've switched colors, and I've done enough now. You can actually tell. Like this has 4 colorways of yarn. It has the gray, light blue, charcoal gray, and dark blue. And this is crochet, and it
looks so.
Yep. So it's not going to fade through colors, but you're going to have big chunks of color. And I just kept going. So I'm not sewing a lot of ends in. So isn't that fun? It's like the rows are getting really long now, but I'm getting addicted to the stitch, and I'm like, I gotta finish this one more row. But I'm doing this on like a D hook, so it takes a while. But again, I'll show you. Look at that stitch. Isn't that fun?
It is gorgeous.
And it's
now
multiple.
I want to make one.
The Chrissy Crossies, it's multiple rows that are like front post this and that, and back post, and fancy things that you can do. If you have knowledge of crochet, you can do it. And this kind of thing, you don't have to do on teeny tiny yarn with teeny tiny hook. If you're a crocheter who doesn't like that, you can do it out of bigger yarn, just adjust your hook to match. So, but I'm going to keep going and do as many repeats as I can and make this as big as I can. This will be an ongoing project for a while. So, yeah. But I had showed off. Yay, it's got some blue on it. I can even show you. It was in these funky puff stitches. I'm thinking when I get back to my tips and tricks, because I took a week off, that we might talk about some, like maybe a popcorn stitch, which is not in this, but it's another fun stitch on a hat I did. This row right in here, see these puffs are gray, and then this one's kind of gray and blue, and then all of a sudden they're blue. That's where the switch happened. But you can't tell. It's going to be really pretty.
And it looks so cool.
I'm excited.
So.
Yes. All right. We need to wrap up because we have our appointment coming. And I think it's a new shopper who we'd like to welcome in and not leave standing out in the cold. So thank you for joining us. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Or think about doing it, or share it with people who might want to subscribe.
Like us, ring the little alert.
The bell for notifications. Bell, yeah. Breezing through the schedule for this week. Tonight we have Sit and Stitch on Zoom with the shop phone number, 828-877-3550. Or you can click the link that I'll put in the description. That's 6 to 9 Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow, what are we doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow is the most
Just trying
dangerous
to get work done.
episode of the week.
Yes, the most dangerous episode of the week. We will figure out another yarn to sell you. Aha. Thursday is Dear Becky and Lizzy. You can write us a letter at Dear Becky and Lizzy, Sun Dragon Art and Fiber.
35 South
Do you want to
Broad
take it?
Street.
Okay. 35 South Broad Street. Brevard, North Carolina, 28712.
Or email me, Liz, at sundragonartandfiber.com.
Write the whole name of the shop out. No symbols. Every single thing spelled out. We have one person who's already outside, but not our shopping appointment. Hang on. And then Friday we have another sit and stitch, and Saturday is our monthly Zoom and Facebook Live sit and stitch in the afternoon. So you can do Zoom. If you don't want to do Zoom, you can watch my glorious mug on Facebook and hear all the people chattering on Zoom and type in comments and participate in the group activity. That will be from 1 to 5 on our Facebook page or on Zoom. So just want to give you a heads up. So many fun things happening. And we have a special schedule next week that we'll talk about that more later in the week because we got to wrap up. So
Done with socks.
yay, let's finish something. All right, we will see y'all later. We got to clear all this off for our shopper. Bye.
See ya.